Everybody, welcome to the most recent episode of the Daily Bullet. I'm Paul Lathrop. Joining me today is somebody I am embarrassed to say I had to be pointed out to. Jared Yanis of Guns and Gadgets on YouTube has got a absolutely phenomenal, huge, and continually growing YouTube channel. And I had to have Charlie Cook point him out to me before I discovered him. Jared, thank you for joining us today, man.
Thank you, Paul. It's an honor to be here.
So let's talk about your YouTube channel, Guns and Gadgets. How long has it been around and what caused you to want to start it?
Sure. First off, thanks, Charlie. um, so the channel in earnest, where I've actually been putting effort into it, I think it hits January will be 6 years. But the meat and potatoes of it, the part that everybody knows it for now, has been about 5 years, 4.5 years of that. So how it started was I was home. I'm a police officer by trade, 24 years, and might be at the end of that now, however. But I was out of work with a shoulder injury, and I'm one of those people that has to be doing something all the time. And throughout my career, I've always been, as a firearms instructor, I've always been up on the law here in Massachusetts. It can change overnight because they really don't like those freedom tools here.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was always up on the law. I always had people asking me, friends and family, what about this? Can I have this? And I've, through the years, have made a lot of contacts. And because I can understand old English law, how it's written, I'm pretty good at reading bills and seeing the hidden, the teeth in bills or the hidden golden nuggets in them too. So we sat down one day. My son, he was holding up, I think it was an iPhone 4, and we were in my basement. I think it's still on the channel. It's terrible. The lighting's horrible, but I had him hold it up, and we did a holster review. It was an Alien Gear holster, and that was the beginning of the channel. And as I started talking about laws, I noticed that I had a lot of comments or questions on the videos in which I was talking about firearms law or laws that, bills that were submitted to infringe on our rights. So I started focusing more on that because, in my eyes, what happens here in Massachusetts or California, somebody in Florida might not care about a bill submitted in Massachusetts or New York. However, when it comes to the Second Amendment, those bills, if people aren't aware of them, they pass and they flourish. Then the gun control crowd sees that as success, and then it becomes mimicked in other states. So what happens in California, if we don't pay attention, we'll absolutely make it to other states and if sometimes to federal law. So what I try to do now on the channel, and the whole guise of it now is to get a hold of bills that are submitted in their infancy. Sometimes I can get it before it even leaves the desk or the office of the representative or senator that submits it, which is a good thing. And then I try to bring that information to the masses. Let them know that, hey, this is submitted in whatever, you insert name here, Delaware, Maryland, or even federally. And from there, I try to educate people of what's happening, what the bill actually says, and the implications it carries if passed, and how it could also be worked into other states. Now, with that, I also try to be somebody who's not just pointing out problems, but also offers a way that people can help be part of the solution. And to that, I have people call their senators, their representatives. My two state U.S. senators are Elizabeth Warren and Senator Markey. I call them more than probably, yeah, I think I call them more than their own family members do. But the key is, though, even though if you have, say, Feinstein or Pelosi or Schumer, call them anyway, because when it comes down to bills, silence is acceptance. So
Yes.
that's what I try to do. I try to get people informed of what's happening, and try to get them to support it if they can, whether it's join groups like SAF or you name it. Whatever group is doing the work, I have a saying that, support those who support you. So I try to get people to help if they can financially, and if not, to actually be a voice and push against stuff, or if it's a good bill, to push for it. So that's kind of been the success of the channel the last couple of years only because they never stop. They being the anti-gunners, they never ever stop, and I try to keep their eyes to where it needs to be because we're very easily distracted as a country, and usually when there's a distraction, it's because something else is going on behind the scenes.
Absolutely. Going back to calling your senators and congress people, I've quite often said if the person answering the phone knows you by voice, you're doing something right.
Absolutely. When we have bills here in Massachusetts, I have both my state senator and my state rep. I text them, I call them all the time. In fact, when we had the bump stock ban passed in Massachusetts, I called them. I called my state rep, and he was still on the floor. They had just finished the vote, and this is how he answered the phone. All right, Jared, let me have it. So you absolutely can build those relationships, and sometimes I get calls from them on, hey, this is what's proposed. What do you think is good about this or bad about this? So if you can foster those relationships, you can absolutely be a part of the fix on the local level. Elizabeth Warren doesn't care about guns and gadgets, but my goal is to put the light on everything that the anti-gunners do and call it out.
Well, but here's the thing: Elizabeth Warren is not going to be the senator forever, and
I hope not.
and your state house representative, your state senator, may go on and get a higher office.
Right.
And if you are having great lines of communication now, those are probably gonna they may not stay as open as they are now when they have a larger office, but they're still gonna be there.
Absolutely. And that's the part of the value of the power of the voice of the people. What I try to do is if I bring out a bill that's bad and say, call your rep, and most times I put in my descriptions of the videos how to get a hold of them, their email, their Facebook, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
When you have 35, 50, 100,000 people chime in on a subject, it absolutely matters. They have to log those calls. They realize, hey, this isn't a way to go. It doesn't happen all the time, but it's absolutely effective if we keep it up.
So, just open secret for those who happen to be watching, we record these, and because we record so many of them, sometimes it takes a little bit for them to release. We're looking at about a 2-week release schedule, and we're recording this one the week after the elections. And as we're recording it, nothing is set in stone yet. But I want to talk to you, Jared, about as it sits right now, what do you see? Should there be another Trump administration, and what do you see coming down the road if there should be a first Biden administration?
Sure. Yeah, this is one for the record books. I personally, on my end, I am absolutely aware of actual cases of fraud that are being investigated, and if it happened in the couple instances that I am aware of, then I know it happened in other places. And I'll preface everything else by saying, if Joe Biden wins outright, so be it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's time for us as a nation to come together and work together. I don't think we get a lot done when it's my way or the highway, or we can't have differing opinions anymore. I just don't like you. But if there is, in fact, fraud, I hope that it is investigated thoroughly. It is brought out to its fullest extent. And after they realize that, if it's realized, then I hope the decision made is correct. As I'm seeing things, and you only hear things on the mass media and what they want you to think, but it looks like the Trump presidency could continue, but it's going to take a court of law, and that sometimes doesn't. Courts don't like to get involved in elections. But if I personally would like to see 4 more years of Donald Trump. Now, if you watch the channel, you'll know that I am very critical of President Trump when it comes to the Second Amendment, because that's what I care about. I think the Second Amendment is one of the key amendments for a reason, and it's not there for sporting or hunting. It's there for tyrannical governments. If he isn't president, and we do have a Biden-Harris presidency, I personally believe that we are in for a serious fight here on the side of the Second Amendment, because you have two people who have not only just campaigned recently on gun control. In fact, uh, VP Biden on November 1st tweeted out that when I'm elected, I will institute assault weapon bans. His words, not mine. Magazine restrictions, universal background checks, and other key gun control legislation. I'm just paraphrasing, but they want universal background checks to get rid of the person-to-person transfer of firearms, which also creates a registry. They want red flag laws. They want to ban AR-15s, AK-47s, and in some states they're called copycats or duplicates. They want to ban the 30-round magazine, the 17-round magazine. They want to limit people to an arbitrary number, 10 rounds, some states 7. That's not good, and they want that for a reason. They're not doing that because, pheasant hunting. They're doing that because a disarmed populace is easier to control. And I believe that Biden and Harris will push the gun control that they promised, because they have the people who are funding it in their corner, like Bloomberg, George Soros, and the like. So we have a fight ahead of us, and it is more important than ever that we all band together. The Second Amendment, I always say, is one of the biggest groups there are in the nation, but it's also the most fractured group in the nation. We have, hunters who are only worried about their hunting rifles or their shotguns. They don't care about handguns. So they're not willing to pick up a phone or donate a $5 bill to a cause that's looking to save a handgun ban. And we have people who only go competition shooting and could care less about people concealed carry for protection. There's just a lot of he said, she said, and I don't like that because in our group. And we need to realize that the big picture is freedom in this country. And I believe that if we all join together, we won't lose any elections if we get behind a pro-gun candidate. So they absolutely prey on us as a group being uninformed and ununited. And if we can take those two links out of their chain, they are going to be losing a lot more than they win.
I would absolutely agree. And one of the things that I have taken a personal crusade, so to speak, on is our being divided. We are famous for attacking and eating our own. And
Absolutely.
over the silliest things, the cross thumb grip versus the thumbs forward grip versus the thumbs up grip for semi-auto handguns. You can get into bar fights, 9 versus 45, and you get seriously hurt feelings over these things. And
Absolutely.
Folks, we need to be absolutely laser focused on what's important, and where your thumbs fit on the semi-auto or what particular brand of non-available ammo we have anymore really doesn't matter that much. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And I think part of that issue is also our strength, and that's passion. Our groups are so passionate about what they love, believe, or want that they're willing to follow that rabbit hole all the way to the center of the earth. You gave the perfect argument as 9 versus 45. There are people still, you hear it today. One group of people says the 1911 is garbage. And then there's the 1911 guys that say 2 world wars. We can all work together. I don't care what you carry or how you grip it. If I'm in a situation where I'm defending myself or someone else, I want you to have my 6. And as long as you can hit what you're aiming at, we're good. I don't care if it's plastic coated cartridge tips or wad cutters or you name it. We're all on the same team. We can have different tools to carry out our mission. And the sooner we understand that as a group, the better off we're going to be.
Absolutely. Well, we're coming up on the end of the time we have today. Tell people again about your channel, Guns and Gadgets, and how they can find it.
Absolutely. First off, thank you for your time, man. I'm very humbled to be asked to be here, so thank you. For those watching, if you are interested in the Second Amendment, and I always say I'm the premier source for Second Amendment news, no matter where it happens in the country, whether it's good, bad, ugly, or indifferent, you will find it on my channel. It's pretty easy. You can search it on YouTube. Most of my activity is on YouTube. I am on just about everything else. I'm on Parler, Instagram, Facebook for now until they decide to delete me. But guns and gadgets will find me pretty much anywhere. It's always in the description of every video. If you're interested in finding out what the infringements are or what the next attack the gun grabbers are planning, you will find it on my channel. Hopefully you consider subscribing, and I hope you share the information, because the mainstream media absolutely does not want the information to get out. So I depend on people sharing the news.
Well, very cool. Thank you again, Jared. Folks, we are going to go ahead and set this one aside. If you wouldn't mind, please subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when another one is released, which we do every day. Come back tomorrow. We'll see you for another one. Thanks again.
Thank you.
And we're clear.
Cool.
Wait a minute.
Thank you, man.
I'm going to have to edit the end of this because it's not stopping when I push the stop button.